there is evidence that we said this bill, we are against this bill, three wards in this constituency that a certain MP represents. So hiyo vote yake people. That's how it should work. Hivyo ndo tunaweza chukua our power back. Hivyo ndo tunaweza put the parliament on a leash. Hivyo ndo tunaweza hold them accountable. MP kila wiki MP anafaa kuvisit his ward constituency. That's in the wanalipoga hizo mileage claims, hizo car maintenance. Ndio kila wiki aende kwa constituency yake asikize wananchi wake, arudi parliament avote vile ameambiwa. But Kenya hiyo work namna hiyo, anakuja tu huko chini, anakuja constituency level, anaenda anahudumiya watu nyama.
Like to say is that these MPs, they have just filmed us because we have been asking them to support us in parliament so that the bills which are not saving the normal Kenyans or the Kenyans will not be passed. But now I can see them, they are putting day and night so that we cannot be saved because they are getting a lot of money to make themselves rich. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us be wise next election. We should not vote for the leader who only needs the money to make himself rich. Let's be very wise also when voting. Please, I beg you guys. You can see now the airport. We are hearing a story that the airport is gone. We can hear that there is an electricity deal which is there. We as many people who have the engineering knowledge of it, we are very rich. We have many rich Kenyans who can have that tender, and our people can get job there. So let's be very wise. And please, my people, also let's pray for this nation. This country is ours. Let's pray for it. Let's pray for our leaders. Let's pray that even the president himself will have will have a sense of honor and understand that Rigathi also campaigned for him so that they can become one thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Leonard, do you on the microphone? Leonard.
Yes, please.
Please, you have 3 minutes. Okay. Are you in a noisy place? Are you able to speak, or you're not?
I'm able to speak.
Okay, yes, we can't hear you. John.
I was saying, let's own this country. Let's build this country. Kenya is ours. Kenya is ours. Let's build Kenya. Let's pray for the Kenya. Kenya requires our prayers. And if we pray for this country, this country can go far. Let's pray for our MP. If your MP is not doing what is expected of him, don't shout at him or her. Just wait 2027 and replace with someone who is thinking enough, who can think for you people, and who can make a good and wise decisions for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Leonard. Thanks for the advice. John, you want to have the microphone? John, or
I turn off.
Oh, thank you.
All right, Okanda. John Okanda.
Thank you, Neto. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I want to echo suggestions by General and Telvin that we should be united and we should have sustainable plans. At the moment, there are so many groups that all of the groups purporting to be fighting Ruto. You see, there is Marara this side, there is Makuure somewhere, there's Boniface Mwangi. There are so many groups. So usually you see when a dictator, like even Moi, the tactics he used to do is to divide and rule. When you are divided, he can easily manage you. But if you are united, you can fight and you can sustain a fight. But when you are divided, it's so easy to manage. And my suggestion on how we can deal with Ruto, because he seems to be very ruthless, is to deal with the MPs. You know, our biggest problem is our MPs, because they are bought, so they easily pass anything and everything that goes to their parliament. So they are the easiest ones we can deal with. We have their homes. Their homes are in Nairobi. Most of them live in Nairobi and in the rural areas. So if we deal with them at both Nairobi homes and their rural homes, then we can manage them. So once we put fear in them, then they'll not just pass anything that the president throws at them. So if we manage them, you know, even if a dog is barking at you and you can't reach the owner, shoot the dog, then the owner will come out. So if we get the MPs, if we manage the MPs, I think then Ruto will fear. At the moment, he thinks we can't reach him, and it's very bold, and it's kidnapping and doing everything because the MPs will not talk about it. So to end, I think just suggesting that we find a way, a sustainable way of dealing with the MPs, and that way we'll reach their boss. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Samuel, you want to say something?
Kwa sahi
Asante. Nafikiri tayari umeongea. Collins, I see your hand up. Please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Give me 100 if you can hear me. Oh, so thanks so much for the platform, NATO. And I've had a few of comrades speak. And for me, it's a sad day. Let me start by, because I was at Uhuru Park in the morning. For me, it's a sad day that we are going back to the police state. And the church is somehow quiet, but I'm happy that the church is awakening. Having watched the trending video of Pastor, is it Teresia? It's a blessing that is actually happening now. And someone also said that we should create a think tank to think, because we're not short of ideas of all these people who are actually on the group now, almost 135 people. We're not short of ideas of what to do. Because if they're now smart, the government, Mali Mefika, they know that they've lost in courts of public opinion, and their only weapon is now to use the police and the military to suppress us. And I don't advocate for this thing of fighting Morara, fighting Casmuel or anybody. Like, just do your part. Do the little part that you're able to do as a citizen. Okay? Do the little part that you're able to do, having in mind that the goal is to leave Kenya better than you found it. For when history would judge, ask yourself, how would history judge you? Would it judge you harshly, or would it judge you with kind? Be the part, just as someone said, the likes of Bishop Okulu, Reverend Timothy Njoya. You see, those were days when a church would speak truth to power. Gone are the days, because the church has been turned into a brown envelope church. It's like just the same way when someone owes you money, when someone gives you money, let's say 10,000, and then later, when they give you, someone gives you 10,000, and then later maybe you find them doing something wrong, you're indebted to them. So that is where the church is. The church that used to be there never used to bribe. You take maybe your chicken to pastor, and willingly. You see, that's the church that I used to know, but not this church that goes to State House and then they're given money and then now they're indebted to State House in such a way that they can't speak truth to the church, to power. And it's sad if there's any member of a church who is here and your pastor is there, please just tell them that they are feeding a monster. They're feeding by them not speaking about the ills of the government. They are feeding a monster that very soon would bite them. and it started biting them by also trying to censor them, bill that they had passed. You see, that's a way of the government trying to censor the church so that the church would play into their tune. And this is something that the church actually brought to them. Allow me say this because my activism is is in line with civic education, that church should allocate 20 minutes of civic education during their time, their preaching time, to educate vulnerable citizens on the importance of civic education, on ethical voting, that is, because there is a lot that happens. Politicians go to vulnerable citizens and they corrupt their mind with promises and things that actually can't work, and promises like building houses on the air, which they know very well that can't work, and citizens actually vote for that. And this is courtesy of the church, because politicians don't go to these churches where people are smart and all that, like in Runda, Karen, and all that. They go to slums like Mukuru. They go to slums like Kibra. That is where they actually infiltrate, corrupt the minds, and then people vote them because they know those people are vulnerable. And then I also come from that school of thought that believes that poverty is actually made. It's a machine made so that you sing politicians' song, you sing to what they have to say. Yesterday we were in Kibra, and I pray that people go to Kibra and realize the kind of life that politicians actually given their constituents. Back to what is the way forward? The way forward is, let's not lose focus. Let's strive with the little that you're doing. Every little piece that everybody's doing, it counts. So let's not condemn others. Everybody should play their part, and the goal is to make Kenya better. I land there. Thank you, Neto.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the thought and the way forward. We're honestly very grateful. Creamer, you want to have the microphone? Creamer, do you have the microphone? Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, please go ahead. You have 3 minutes. Yes, we can hear you. 3 minutes.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity. I'm going to be brief because I don't want to repeat what other people have said.
Okay.
First of all, let me thank you, the host and the host, for the theme, charting the way forward. Because when I came here on X in the evening, early in the evening, naona watu wengine wanadiscusia, anyway, seti na laumu mtu ama nakata, kila mtu na nini yake, lakini you know, the problem with we Kenyans, we focus on the symptoms, not the disease itself. We minor on majors and major on minors instead of discussing what is the way forward. Ni nini dawa ya matatizo ambayo tuko nazo. Kwa mfano leo, kama nilivyosema, nilikadhabishwa, nimeingia social media hapa, napata watu wana discuss about Man City, vijana wenzangu, wengine wana discuss about the issue of Kashagwa. Sasa itatusaidia nini shwali? Let us be honest, the problem with us youth, we don't speak in one voice. Kama tungekuwa tunazungumza in one voice, tungekuwa tume reform na kuleta revolution kwa nchi. Kitu inatuharibu sisi is tribalism and worshipping politicians. Kama vijana tungeamua Kenya mzima kwamba, because the only voice that a government listens, the only language that a government understands is demonstration. Kama sisi wote vijana tungekuwa tunaamua Kenya mzima, twende tu tufanye the peaceful demonstration, exercising our democratic duty, because it is ensuring in our constitution. Sete ni kitu yenye tumeviolate katiba. So tungejitokeza kwa kila town, vijana wote, na twende barabara. Hao watu wangejua kweli sisi hatutaki mchezo. We are no longer condoning their behavior of mismanaging this country. The problem with our country is bad governance and leadership. Unaona sasa viongozi, they are after their selfish interest. And that's why tusipo unite na kuspeak in one voice as youth, hao watu wataendelea kutunyanyaza, hatutakuwa na future. Enyewe tulipigia kura hii serikali, mimi sikupigia, nasema majority walipiga, lakini hiyo ishafanyika. Lakini sasa what is the solution? Juu tutashinda hapa kwa space tukiongea mpaka 2035, hata tutazeeka bado tukiwa kwa space, lakini hakuna actions. Can we walk the talk? Then there is something I want.
Give us a proposal. Freeman, give us a proposal. What's the way forward? What's your proposal as the way forward?
The way forward is this. Actions. One, ni kwenda kwa barabara. Peaceful demonstration. Nchi mzima. Peaceful demonstration actions. Number 2, electing leaders ambao ni vijana wenye at least wana understand issues affecting the common mwananchi. Not these people who they retire CEOs wakiwa directors, unashindwa why anataka kiti cha a political seat. Hiyo ndio itakuwa solution. Solution si kuomba. I had somebody saying let us pray for our leaders. You pray for a leader who is torturing us now, who is abducting leaders, innocent Kenyans. No, not at all. Alafu
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Freeman. We heard you. Peaceful demos across our entire country and electing youthful leaders with a bit of focus. Justus, you want to pick it up from there? Justus,
yes, thank you. Yes, I do agree with Freeman on the basis of not praying but engaging on concrete matters that can render the solution that we desire. Because those who are praying, the good book says in Proverbs 28:4, those who forsake the law pray for the wicked, but those who uphold the law bring them down. So even the good book has given us directions on whether to pray with them or what action should we do. If they are wicked, then we bring them down. But we'll know they are wicked when another one says in Proverbs 29 that when the wicked are in authority, people mourn. But when the righteous are in authority, people rejoice. And by their fruit, we can tell everyone is mourning in the country. And yes, we must now, by all means, as we go, it's time to hit the spider at the center of the web. However much we discuss and talk, if we did not hit it right where it belongs, then we can still also remain on vicious circles, in going round and round with no solutions. But if we hit it at the point, right at the center, it will be very easy for us to go to the root and see functional solutions. The end game, either two ways. One is form the next government. That's one end game. And to form the next government, you can either form it through the people before 2025, or we can form it in 2027 as per the constitutional timeline. Either way, for us to attain those solutions or those objectives, we must engage then concretely in the process. One, I've always advised that leadership is not an event, it's a process. And this process, sometimes Ecclesiastes 19:17 says, the words of the wise heard in quiet are better than the shouting of a ruler among the fools. And wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroys much. Yes, so sometimes these are achieved quietly through wisdom. We may not be shouting that we are the leaders of Gen Z. And let me tell you, as Milton said, revolution is never televised. Because definitely, as Mintel said, they will never give us the audience. And if you see them giving audience straight away, it is the indication of that is a pseudo guy, that is their man. When you see them cover a guy in the process of revolution, Ujue Uyo, that is not the one. You should not even run there, even as they are prophesying during the last time. But what should we do? Through wisdom as we gather, we are able to identify with the functional directions that can give us the desired results. And yes, somebody, I think it's Abdi. Abdi, you advise that we must, it's imperative that you work with a religious organization or spiritual foundation, if I may put it correctly, because spirituality has been outstanding. Believer is Christian party in Germany, and look at the revolution they brought. They brought us even the German machine. It is these liberals who are messing it up. Even this current United States of America in 18th century, it was founded by the Puritans, devout monarchs who studied the scriptures, and their values are standing to date if you actually look at the Declaration of the Independence. China, when it closed itself from the Western War, which was Opium War, they restored back their value structures. And now these are the things that we cannot actually move without. Even when we're talking about next government, we must talk about solutions that are going to render and enhance this character formation and proper ethics that we lead, we are desirous of. Because when talking about integrity in this country, we have leaders who are very quick to sacrifice you instead of serving you. Instead of filling citizens, they are fleecing you outrightly. And you're looking for justice in their hands. Yes, their hands are full of blood. You can see. It's all over. And their pockets are swelling with the loots. And they don't care. They are spewing it all in our face. This is not the leaders we decide. There's no integrity at all. When you're talking about integrity, even if you go to the courts, it is not there. Yeah, so, way forward, we need to then engage concretely in the political process. Through activism must be tailor-made with advocacy. Advocacy means we must also engage with the institutions that are rendering these solutions. We must be in the government. So when I see NATO here, when I see Daktari, I see the convergence of all of us here. To me, I get hope. And those who are thinking that there's no hope, I'm telling you, we've come very, very far. We are right at the mountaintop. Of course, we've suffered. We've lost lives. We've been shot. We've all gone through what we're going through. But there is a hope. Right at the mountaintop, we can see the frustration of our enemies. They are divided among themselves, which is our advantage. And let them continue bleeding themselves. But as they bleed themselves, I think then now is a high time, as I said earlier, that we hit the spider at the center. We need to start structuring this government. And when you're talking about formation of the government, even if the IBC is instituted right now and we start recalling these MPs, who is going to vie where? We need to put all those measures in place. And we will need political parties, as we've said. I don't need to, you're a leader of a political party, so am I. And if we can start coalescing in direction with a like-minded political party, as we are cautious not to put the new wine in old wine skin. All those traditions that actually have taken us down this road, we cannot afford to go back there. And as we do that, make sure that we have an MP in every constituency, 290 of them, an MCA in 1,440 wards. We must get governors in the 47 counties, plus senators and women rep. Where are they going to come from? Those are the structures we should be focusing on, so that when somebody said that ukiona vimeunda vinalea, is because we have grassroots connection that we are mobilizing towards. When you're mobilizing towards what? All those bunges, if you leave them open there, discussing relatively without a direction, these people will come and pour money there, and they take that bunge and use it for purposes that was not intended. But if you structure right now around a coalition of political party or around a political party, you are certain that you will be gathering towards that MCA to make him an MCA. You'll be gathering around that MP to make him an MP. You'll be gathering around that governor. And those are the actually activities that we now should concretely be spending more efforts on as we fundraise. We also have brothers who cannot be here. And as the fundraise, not everybody is going to be MP, MCAs, and governors. Some are going to serve in the cabinets. Some have various different strengths. And I think those are where this ideology should be driven to see how we are going to transform our education system to inculcate values and character formation instead of just passing exams only or academia. We should also look at how we can revitalize our economy. And that is where now our individuals or partners in the diaspora can help us with programs that are functional, that are working, things that can be borrowed, and how to, ride with the technology. There are a number of things that we can cooperate, but only if we are moving in the right direction. But remember,
Thank you,
it is
Party
a
Leader.
process.
Thank you, Party Leader. You have to land now. Thank you very much. And Anne Kangede, you have the microphone.
I think she dropped.
And she's back again. Anne, are you on the microphone? Okay. As Anne tries to connect Pig Bin. Is that Pig Bin? Is that the correct name?
Yes, greetings.
Greetings, Pig Bin.
Yeah, thank you. I'm back again. I was here initially, and it's a pleasure to see you, Brother Neto. I saw you sometimes when I was still young. But yeah, so there's lack of what you call unity of purpose. If I can recall, and I said this, when we were around 50 of us wanting to be a president during the last elections, and when we were disqualified unfairly with the IBC, which we followed the cases in the court until IBC declared that either the ID copies that they were putting on us was unconstitutional, which meant that then the election process of verifying these candidates who stood for election 2022 was unconstitutional. Basically, we were having illegal candidates. Now, what happened is that IBC actually requested for a stay order, which then allowed them to continue the so-called 4 people that declared for election. But then we asked amongst those other candidates, we were together with Jimmy, Okot, Ruben, and so many of them. And the question is, how do we then form a united team as early as now that then can ensure that the people are aware? Of course, personally, I wanted even to lead an anti-election campaign prior to election because I'd known the system was already faulted. But then we said, then how can we then active leaders who wanted to be alternative leaders in this country, how can we unite and be the alternative to push these changes in the streets physically? We thought of we could have a unity on that. But then people had their own interests in between. Some said, okay, now that we are out, let me go vote so, let me go vote so, let me go vote so and so. I said, basically, I cannot actually sanitize an already a flawed process. But because we fail at that particular moment to go beyond our ego of who is the best or who should be the president and the rest, we were unable to form a formidable team of a strong opposition that could then keep the government on toes. Basically, ideas like how could we even move to the street physically to teach the people and keep this government accountable. Unfortunately, some of us ended up going in our own direction after that. And today, we are here suffering. You see? And suffering in the process that even those who wanted to be alternative forgot about them being alternative. And maybe some can say, like most of us, retrieved to reorganize and strategies. But the key problem is always one thing. And I believe in it. The government is so big to accommodate all of us. Only if we are ready to forgo our ego and work on the goal we want for the people. But as long as it must be you or me and the rest, that's how we are going to make it fall on their trap. So today you see every young person is trying to do their part. It's very important. Everybody play their part. I've said I'm doing my own civic education, public matatus, preparing booklets and share to the people revolutionary messages because personally, my education is on the mind, emancipating the mind of the people because I know that is the greatest tool. So we must agree that everybody must be part of this and everybody will play their part. Those who can hold Twitter space must come in and help us. Those who can do physical mobilization must do that. Those who have the resources to come in, let them come. The revolution requires more than a party. It requires a movement. And the movement of what you call positive action or the progressive forces. If we are not ready to go to that extent of combining the progressive forces together for a movement that is beyond a political party, that brings on organization, movements, political parties, and everybody else, we might not be able to salvage our people and ourselves out of this. And as I'm saying again, we must actually realize that the people we are dealing with are not enemy. This government is not only the enemy of anybody else in this country. Ruto's presidency is the enemy of all African and black people across the globe, because the agenda is basically to advance the agenda of the new or the former colonial masters. So we must be very tactical and we must ensure that everybody play their part. Not everybody must play one part, but if they can, let's agree, because at the end of the day, if you save ourselves out of Ruto, everybody will enjoy, no matter who will be where and where. So that's my still plea to so many of us here. Let's agree to do what we can. If you are able to do the posters, do it. Do it diligently, as that is the contribution you can give to this struggle. The Mau did their best. So how can we do that? If you are ready to either pray for us, go and pray for us. If you are ready to give the hires, the cars, do it. But at the end of the day, be part of the movement and do something that you'll be proud of, that I did it for my country. That's what I can say.
Thank you very much, Pig Ben. That beautiful call to action. Redemptor, you want to have the microphone?
Oh, that fast. Good evening, everyone. I think I just want to do a rundown on the day's events because we are talking about the political uncertainty. I want to keep it to the human side of the events of today and what I saw. I walked through the streets to be the eyes for someone like Rosemary, who is far away from home and who's been in the media practitioner. And so my journey starts at GPO, where tear gas is thrown on the side of GPO, the first tear gas. And what did I see in the streets of Nairobi today? Mainly Kenyatta Avenue, Mwindimbingu Street, Koinange Street, and the police station. I saw, as those who haven't been in the country for a long time, they changed to Kenyatta Avenue, so there are walkways, they have curb walks, and what happens, they have these street photographers. People come on Sundays with families to take pictures, to dance in the streets. Groups are dancing. But what I noticed was the young men in black, black trousers, black t-shirts, even black, very neat shirts worn. It was the age of those people that I was observing. They were very, very young. They were Gen Zs. And I even interviewed some of them. The second tear gas was lobbied at the GPO now on this other side. And what was happening is, as soon as you saw 3 people dressed in black, there was a lot of black people dressed in black today, they would lobby tear gas. There was a few people running, so I didn't get to go to Uhuru Park itself, because I had gotten word in the morning that they were dispersing people, they were questioning people who are dressed in black. But it's the hope that I want to share, not even all the political, because I want to talk about our humanity as the young people who are looking up to us for the conversations. I met a young man. I decided to engage him. I tried a few people when the tear gas was lobbied, and I just have to share this part of our Kenyan spirit. When tear gas was lobbied, and the people in border borders were trying to cover their mouths, this man and I think his girlfriend quickly bought a bottle of water from a vendor. They washed their faces and quickly gave me the bottle. I mean, I was really touched by the gesture. And I think this is what was happening in June. So they asked me to wash my face, and I asked them, were you going for the memorial? They said they were, but now they've been dispersed. And the man showed a middle finger, just very expressive people. And then I tried to talk to everyone who was in black. Were you going for the memorial? So finally, I found this young man, and he told me. I told him, so how many times have you been out in the streets? And he said every time. And he's a lawyer. He's a student. And very quickly, as we were engaging, I was interested in his story. he told me my friend has been arrested. And I said, can I go with you? So we went to the Central Police Station. We were chased from the Central Police Station, but we stood at the bridge and we tried to mobilize to find out who was there. A policeman chased us away from there. And then policemen came in a Land Rover and they wagged their fingers at us and they seemed to know the young man. And one of them told us, wewe si Morara Kebaso, and with contempt threw a cup of chupa at us. And we spent the next few hours and we had to part ways. And the young man, coincidentally, I don't believe in coincidences, when I asked him his name is my father's name. So I spent the day walking the streets, interviewing young people, and they are very aware of what's going on in the country. The Gen Alphas were dancing in the streets and they were dancing songs like Kufa Derefa, Kufa Makanga, and I had to leave town at around 5 p.m. I give this rundown to just tell you the mood is not sometimes what you will. One last story. I told the young man that I'm a freelancer and that I document what goes on in my country. And he said his life was saved by a freelancer journalist in June. I said, can I record you telling that story? He was not very keen, but he said he's been looking for that person who saved his life. He said when they pointed a gun at him on June 25th, he froze. And then the freelancer journalists pulled out his camera and said, I'm recording them. And the policemen stopped what they were planning to do. Now, the fact that these people have seen all these things in June and they're still willing to come to the streets should tell you, even as we have this conversation in these spaces, feeling like people are not organized, it will never have momentum and all that. The resilience in the Kenyan spirit, the idea that they can share with an older woman a bottle of water, they can have discussions about what they think about the players. What do you think about this person? What do you think happened to this young person? And they said, we are discovering we in as much as we think a young person will save us, we have an issue of it being easy to be compromised. So Nairobi was interesting today because there was a resolve. You could see if Uhuru Park had been open, there would have been at least thousands of people there to honor the people who have gone fighting for their country. So I finished by saying we focus too much on the political when we have these discussions. We forget the social. What's going on in the social fabric? The mothers of those 3 girls who are dancing the streets, because there were many, many young people dancing the streets, they were eager and they said, make our children go viral. And it was interesting, the song they were dancing to. And I was like, are they aware what's going on around them? And I was left wondering what percentage of a critical mass does a country need to say that we need help? And the young lawyer told me, I can't wait to be a lawyer, and I can't talk about justice when there's no justice in my country. I can't practice justice when there's no justice in my country. I mean, it's an exhausting day. But I just want to say, for those who are far away from home, for those who talk political and forget we are human beings, that people feel it so deeply. They remember everything that happened in June. And like they keep saying, it's a lull, it's not over. Just the idea that you can pour so many police in the streets on a Sunday. I saw a child cry because of tear gas. Some mothers didn't know there was going to be tear gas in Uhuru Park, so they were going to take their families. I mean, I'm just telling you to do with this information whatever story, if you're creative, whatever story you'd make out of it. How was Nairobi on Mashujaa Day? Who are the Mashujaas? Is the Kenyans who are very quiet and calm, but there's a storm brewing in their hearts about everything they see, everything they hear. And it was a day of honoring Shujaas, and we ended up having people apologizing for everything that has gone on and talking and pretending. And I finished with the speech by the Vice President, and I'm not going to apologize for what I'm about to say, that they want us to feel sorry for them. The Deputy President's wife was there looking miserable and crying. But when she received the money allocated to her office that was not supposed to be in her office, when traffic jams were being stopped for her to pass, did she know how people were suffering in this country because of money that is supposed to serve us was serving her and her family? So I hope we don't always focus on the political. We also focus on the human side, the lived experiences of all these people. And everyone is supporting, whether you're near or far, supporting that there has to be change in this Kenya. Hillary, I'm talking like a radio, and I think that's all I have to submit, that it is truly a luta continua, and this belongs to the young people, but all we can do is support them. And yes, we have to go back to tribeless. Asanteni.
Thank you very much, Redemptor, for documenting the struggle for those people who are far away. That's really, really good. Thank you very much. Collins, you have the microphone.
No, I don't want to have the microphone. Maybe I'll contribute later, but thanks.
Dr. Milton?
I just feel touched by what Redemptor has shared. And I think indeed it is very refreshing to know that Kenyans are still as determined as they have been. And it is not all lost. Nothing is lost. The Kenyan people are still keen on holding this government accountable. And it is, I have no doubt in my mind that it is not a question of whether, if, or something like that. It is a question of when the Kenyan people come out. And I think it is encouraging and refreshing to hear our people speak like they're doing. I want to leave it at that, Mheshimiwa. Let's hear more people if there are people still on waiting for the mic.
Thank you very much. Abdi, I'm going to give you the microphone, but before I give you the microphone, I think I liked a couple of things that Justice and a few other people said, that we have to hit the spider in the middle of the web. And having hit the spider in the middle of the web, that's the only way Kenya avoids going into a vicious cycle. So I really think that was something that I really, I'd like to echo. Someone was complaining that people came to the space to talk about Man U or some other sports. There's nothing wrong with talking about Man U or even Harambee Stars or even AFC Leopards or Gor Mahia, if that is what is going to give you mental peace to look forward to another day. So we really need to support each other. Like Redemptor just said, let's look at the social and the political. So whatever can make Kenyans for right now have heart's ease, and let's support them in that particular way. The divide and rule tactics of the politicians have been used before, but it is something that we can deal with. We must coalesce, and when we coalesce, there's not so much they will do, and even in divide and rule tactics, some of the fake ones will fall by the wayside, and this has been happening since the struggle of the 1990, the multi-party for Resili and stuff. The people who are fake will fall by the wayside, so you don't even have to worry. We have the few who are consistent, who are valiant, have to keep going. So divide and rule, you cannot divide the people who are determined. You cannot divide the people who have the resilience and the goodwill to move forward. We must keep organizing. Politics is about organizing. Politics is soft war. You must have infantry. You must have foot soldiers. You must have the people with the supplies. You must look at strategic military objectives. Politics is not random. Politics has to be organized. So even as we speak here, let everyone else do their part. Let everyone else know what they can do best, and that is part of the organizing that we are speaking to. Thanks, Redemptor, for confirming that the national anger is palpable. Kenyans are very angry, and Kenyans are very angry in a way that it will shock the system. So I really think that June 25th proved that it is possible to do very many things in Kenya, and something major, I think, is going to happen. And we also want to thank Rigiji and William Ruto for fighting, and it's good. Now let him say everything. After he said everything else, then it will be easy to help us get them home. But there is hope, good people. I really think that the resilience of the young people in Kenya. We have failed in the parts of that we're not structurally organized in a proper way in terms of providing leadership to help deliver this particular movement into the path that we want. But I think time is going to come, and in due course. So let's keep engaging, and in the next couple of weeks, I really think that something must give in. That's my thought. But Abdi, you want to say something else?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think there was David who wanted to speak, but he dropped. But I see his text is in regards to the Kwame Nkrumah book on neocolonialism. I think he talked about the last stages of imperialism, where he warns of dangers of economic political dependence on foreign powers, even after achieving independence. I think this analysis, I agree with James, it resonates well deeply with Kenyans' current struggle, particularly in the face of the external debt, multinational corporate controls, foreign aid dependencies, and the constraints on Kenyan sovereignty. I think the economic hardship and the influence of global financial institutions like IMF, World Bank reflects Nkrumah's idea of neocolonialism, where control is exercised not through direct governance, but through economic leverages, through proxies like Adani. I think in Kenyan context, we are witnessing the re-emergence of external control over key sectors of our economy, including infrastructure projects, political decision-making that undermines our self-determination and economic independence, perpetuating a cycle of dependency that Nkrumah warned against, I think. As a country, we must critically examine these dynamics, advocate for policies that prioritize Kenyan interests, promote self-sufficiency, and reduce foreign entities like Adani. I think also Nkrumah reminds us that true independence cannot be achieved without economic sovereignty, and that we must resist all modern forms of exploitations discussed as development or aid or investment. Kenya is at crossroad for sure, and the decision we make now will determine whether we continue on the path of external dependence or carve out a future of true independence and prosperity. That was my addition from the point from David. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see some two last people here want to speak, but I also want to give it to Hilary at some point. But Hannah, so that at least we make it very, we balance the ladies' voices. Hannah, you want to speak?
Yes, thank you very much, Hilary. Barigani, long time. Neto, thank you for the mic, Abdi, and everybody else on the platform, the audience, the speakers, Hamujambo, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you. To be honest, for me, it's a realization and a moment of being proud to be Kenya. Rosemary, you can see it down there. To be a proud Kenyan. It looks really difficult, whatever we've achieved. Who knew? Struggles have come in many forms and shapes. They've died down, they've picked up, died down. But who knew that this generation, or the young people of Kenya, from back of a financial bill would lead to this huge task that is actually being chipped off day by day, bit by bit. Who knew this would awaken everything, to this point? For me, a lot of people seem maybe not to feel that they've achieved anything, to feel that what have we achieved? But for me, to be honest, if anything, it has awoken every person, every young person, and everybody else. It has created a nation of collective responsibility, which is something that some nations struggle to achieve for decades and decades and decades. Today, you've got young people who are more interested looking, and a beautiful thing that came out of this is young people decided to translate the financial bill into a language that anybody could understand. Getting people engaged in their own interest and in their nations, and at such young age, to be honest, it's an envy that a lot of African nations or Western nations would wish for. It's very difficult. They spend a lot of money, spend a lot of things to get the young people to engage into their national affairs. For me, Kenyan is, as a Kenyan, I think we've spearheaded and we're pioneers in getting this done. removing the chains, financial chains. It might take a long time, but I want to say kudos to every Kenyan, every young Kenyan, and I think you've achieved a lot. Do not despair. You've achieved something that the generations and generations before and many African nations have not achieved. So for me, I just wanted to say that, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hannah, for the kind words. General China too. You know,
Yes, I just had a point of concern. I've just followed the conversation. It's a good conversation. Now we articulate how everything happened and things that should be done. But my worry is that today being a Mashujaa Day, there are our comrades who left houses in the morning when they were going for that function that was supposed to happen at Uhuru Park. And as things stand by now, there are many of our comrades who have been held in the police station, most probably Kamkunji police station. That was the center, that was the epitome of arrest today. They were arresting people and taking to Kamkunji police station. So how do we work on the follow-up of our comrades who have been arrested during the time of fight? Because this is what, if you have learned of late, has made the numbers to decrease in the streets. Like people feel like I can be arrested. The movement is not even doing a follow-up of where we are. So there are very many comrades. Some of them are always here on space. We don't know their whereabouts up to now. I don't know if there's a structured follow-up or now we are going to trace our comrades, because that one is also a big concern, because as a family, when we retreat back to the house, we should be concerned of where is the elder son, where is the second born. Like we should be concerned, like where are our brothers and sisters? So I think there's a follow-up that is going on for the comrades. Most of them are detained at Kamkunji police station, so that we can see now those people can be out, because if we leave them by themselves, they will feel like they just go out there by themselves and we call ourselves a movement. But when the time of problem comes, no one comes to their aid. So let us also work on that. And the last one also, let us not be carried on by these shenanigans of this deputy president and the wife crying. Me, I can't sympathize to them, because the wife herself today is crying, and she can't feel for the Kenyans. Funga stage ya Karen. There's a stage in Bomas that was just closed because the deputy president's wife was held in a jam, and they actually make people to alight from far when you are going to Bomas. So we are not sympathetic to the regime. Let them suffer as much as they can suffer, because we don't care. Thank you.
Thank you very much, General. Your point noted on. Yes.
Neto, allow me to answer General on in regards to the comrades who were arrested.
Okay.
Yes. So I understand that a few comrades were arrested from morning, and like Khalid and just some the journalists. Most of them have actually been released by Punini Cashbait from the police station. And one thing that I also want to let everybody know is the police are using a new trick where they arrest you, take your phone, separate you from your phone. So like, for example, Khalid was arrested. His phone was in Kamukunji, and he was taken to this place called Kariobangi. So that is a trick they use. But to respond to General, most of the comrades have actually been released, so nobody should worry. And there are people who actually come through, even if you don't have funds, they come through to bail you out. One of the organization is Defenders Human Rights. I'll share with you NATO number so that you can also share. I don't know if it's okay. Probably I share the number publicly, but you can reach them. Have their number in your phone, just in case when you go for the protest and you're arrested, then they're able to reach. And also LSK always comes through, led by Faith and Maura Kabata. They helped me when I was detained at the Capitol Hill. They always come through. So don't be, if you're here and you feel like you're alone, you're not alone. These people actually come through for you and you bail, more so when you don't have a crime that you committed. Assembling like today when we were to assemble at Uhuru Park, That was a national celebration. You had all the rights to be there. So I don't even think people who would be taken to court would be charged for anything because they were actually assembling to celebrate their heroes. There's no list that is put that these are the heroes you need to celebrate. People, so other people celebrate their parents, others celebrate their friends, others. As we were celebrating the 60 plus one who lost their lives, who paid the ultimate price to the to what, to save the country from the finance bill. So to answer General again, I think if I'm not wrong, all the people who were arrested today, most of them actually been bailed out. I land.
Thank you very much for that information. I'm sure that General heard you. Thanks for the update. Wangoi, you want to say something?
Yes, I wanted to talk about the think tank. I still will insist on the think tank. Why am I saying this? This is because of the debt we have in Kenya. Nobody seems to sit down in that parliament, in that government, to talk about the debts. Because every time they are paying the debt, they are saying we are paying the interest. And nobody tells us how this amount does not go down. So here is what happened. For example, when we had in France a